Hey guys, Captain Kurt, thanks for joining me here today. We're at our training center down here in Florida. We're here all winter long. We train 7 days a week. We're down here until May. From October to May, we're down in Florida every year, and it's been beautiful outside. We've had nonstop students since we took a break right at Christmas, so we're glad to have you back and joining us for some videos. It's been a few weeks since we made one. People are going, hey, what's going on? You guys drop off the planet? So we're glad to be back and making a little video. One of the videos I wanted to make today was that probably one of the number one questions that I get into this, and I'll address that in a minute. First of all, if you're coming into the sport, welcome to powered paragliding. This is the most phenomenal flight on the planet. Whether you've flown general aircraft before, and every pilot I talk to that I've trained, and there's 1,232 students I've had, and I got to tell you, man, every one of them that's flown something else, from 777s, from FedEx to Blackhawks to fighter jets, you name it. I've trained every walk of life that have come in here. Every guy says the same thing. There really is nothing like powered paragliding. If you think about it, it is the safest form of flight, because essentially, even though we call it a paraglider, it reacts like a parachute. You're under a parachute from the minute you leave the ground. So you're always in somebody else's recovery mode. You're flying low, you're flying slow. It's not a fast sport unless you want to jack it up and learn aerobatics later, but it's such a relaxing, enjoyable flight, and there really is no sensation. After about 30 to 40 flights, I would say, this thing starts to become an extension of your limbs. There's no cockpit. There's no runways. You don't need to pick an airport. You don't need hangars. You don't need annuals. You don't need insurance. There's no medical. There's no age limit. But more importantly, the sensation that you get from flying a powered paraglider is probably the closest thing equivalent to being a bird. And yet you are under the safest form of flight. But one of the questions I always get into the sport is, which is better, foot launching or trike? Well, it's not that it's better. Better's not a good word to use for this. In this sport, it's what you choose. If you choose foot launching, we have a 100% success rate at getting you to either one, foot launching or triking. With 1,232 students, I've been in aviation my whole life, and I was a national skydiver for 20 years. I'll get you there. We'll keep you safe. Especially since we don't put any time limit or price tag on it. If you get your equipment here, you'll not only get better equipment that has features that aren't found on the other brands, and watch those other videos. Watch the powered paraglider scam warnings equipment video. That'll show you what a Fresh Breeze has that the other ones don't have. And we have units from 40 pounds all the way up to our big monster, depending on your power plant or what your expectations and needs are. But the best thing is, if you get your equipment here, there's no time limit on the training. There's no price tag on the training. So you can train as long as you want. We train 7 days a week. You can come in on your schedule. You can come in once a week, twice a week, come in 2 weeks straight, a month straight. We've had people come in from overseas that have stayed sometimes for 30 to 60 days, nonstop training every day. There's no price tag. There's no time limit. You're training with us as long as it takes to keep you safe, and you don't pay a dime for that. So that $3,500 that these guys are charging, keep that in your pocket, put it towards getting a better unit. But to address the question, which is better? If you ask me which is better, again, both of them are amazing. It's an amazing form of flight. Which one do I prefer? When I'm going flying, I'm good. I don't fail a launch. I've been flying both of them since the beginning. I fly foot launch, was what I first started out with, but I got to tell you, the trike will spoil you. And the trike has so many more advantages, in my opinion, than the foot launch. And again, both are extremely fun. Both are amazing. Let's talk about what it takes and why I prefer a trike over foot launching. Well, first of all, it's so much easier. I don't have to run with a motor on your back. Now, it doesn't matter what kind of physical shape you're in. Maybe you're in fantastic shape. We get guys that come in here that are from Special Forces unit. We had a guy a while back with a couple Navy SEALs. We had a couple Green Berets coming through here. We get guys in the prime of their life. Some of these guys look like they literally just walked off of a Bowflex commercial. They're in great shape, but it doesn't matter how strong you are, how young you are, foot launching is a challenge. You're going to find that even with the lightest motor we have, which is just a little over 40 pounds, or the biggest motor we have, it's not a strength thing or whether you can put that motor on your back. It's a balance thing. You're doing something that you're normally not doing, so getting used to it takes a while. In the first year, during what we call the learning curve of foot launching, In the first year, you're going to break several sets of propellers. Now, a lot of dealers won't tell you the truth about that, and people will, you know, kind of shy away from that because it's sort of a negative thing. It's not really fun to talk about breaking your propeller, and it's not a big deal. It's just kind of an expense. When you break a propeller, you're talking about $460 for a decent propeller. We have composite carbon fiber props, and so they're more efficient, they're quieter, they're rounded edges on a fresh breeze. We don't care for the wooden props. There's a lot of vibration from them. They're not as well balanced. And when you have a prop strike with a wooden one, it tends to sometimes do bearing damage. So we like the carbon fiber, even though they cost a little bit more. We prefer that, but I talk about that more in a video. But here's the thing: in the first year, the average guy who's foot launching will lose his balance. He'll hit a little bit of dirt like this. You know, he'll be running and he'll trip on a little dirt or a little ground, and so he'll trip, he'll fall, lose his balance, and he'll usually break a prop and part of the cage. Sometimes he'll hit a quarter part of our cage, or he'll hit a bottom part of the cage, or sometimes he'll wipe out two sections. When you trip and fall, it doesn't matter what unit you have. If somebody says you can't break a prop with their unit, they're lying to you. And if they tell you they don't trip and fall in the first year, the average guy breaks 3 to 4 sets, so they're lying to you about that too. The average guy who, unless he puts it in the back of his garage and doesn't fly it, yeah, that's about the only way you're not going to break a prop if you're foot launching. So you will break props in the first year. So if you spend $450 on a prop and a couple cage parts, you're talking about $800 to $1,000 in damages each time you trip and fall. The trike costs $2,500. You can get a trike. So in 2 trip and falls, which you will do in the first year, you're going to pay for that trike. So you can either spend the money in your first year during your learning curve getting a trike and making it easier for yourself, because with the trike, you're not tripping, you're not falling, you're not breaking propellers, unless you rolled it over, which is hard to do, especially with this trike, because this trike has a feature on it that self-corrects, so it keeps the pilot from flipping. And then, of course, when you watch my other video, you'll find out why we teach you how not to roll a trike over ever. So it doesn't matter which brand you have, you should never roll a trike. If you're trained properly, you won't. But anyways, with the foot launching, you will trip and fall, you'll break the prop. So right off the bat, you can either spend in the first year buying broken propellers and going through the learning curve of that, or you can spend that money on a piece of equipment that makes you safer. And the reason it's safer is because, first of all, your legs aren't the landing gear. So you come in for a hard landing, and it's one thing if you're a kid and you take a tumble on a hard landing, and you're not going to get hurt, but you're going to get scuffed up. And I don't know about you, but at 57 years old, sometimes I get out of bed and shit just hurts for no reason. I don't know what you're like, but sometimes you can hear your bones cracking and walking, and even though I've never broken bones and stuff like that, sometimes things are just sore for no reason. Well, you have a trip and a fall and stuff like that, and you're 40, 50, 60 years old, it's not gonna feel good. So it's a lot safer, and you run a risk of getting hurt. If you've had any injuries, neck, shoulder, back injuries, you got hips or knees or anything else like that, don't even waste your time. Seriously, don't even waste your time with the foot launching, because you get the same identical experience. Did you hear me? You get the same experience. You're not being robbed of anything. You say, well, you know, that the trike can get off, I got to have a bigger area to get off. That's not true. Any place that you foot launch out of still has to be big enough for climb out room, therefore it's big enough for a trike. It has to be smooth enough. You can't just lay your wing down anywhere. You can't just lay it down on bushes and different things like that. There can't be all these obstacles around, and it has to be smooth enough for you to run on, or you're going to be tripping even more and breaking more propellers. When you're running, you need something kind of smooth to go on, and it has to be cut. It can't be weeds up to your knees and be foot launching and try to trudge through that while you're trying to launch. You won't be able to get enough speed. So any field that you can foot launch out of, you can trike out of. And they used to say, well, you can't launch a trike at the beach. Well, then they came out with the beach pod. We have a beach pod version of this with the big wheels on it, and now you can fly a trike out of the beach as well. So any place, so don't fall into the thing, well, I can't get out of the same fields. That's not true at all. And then as far as safety goes, you have a hard landing, you've got steel underneath you. You don't even know that you've had a hard landing half the time if you have a hard landing with a trike. The other advantage to a trike is I can land in any direction. Foot launching, I can't. With a foot launching, I have to know where that wind's coming at when I come in for a landing, because if I don't, I'm definitely not going to stand it up on a landing with 50 pounds on my back. I'm going to come in with a tailwind, and that's not good. With a trike, you can land in every direction. With a trike, you don't have to take your equipment. Let's say you get to the field here, and right now the wind's coming this way, but let's suppose the wind was coming from over there and I needed to take off. So I park my car, I take my stuff off. I've got to lug all of my equipment to the other side of the field before I even take off. By the time I get over there, I'm half exhausted just lugging stuff over there. Even with the smallest unit of only 40 pounds, which is like our tiny unit, put fuel in that, it's about 50 pounds, and some of you older guys, you walk a couple acres across that, you're going to be a little tired by the time you get there. And you haven't even done yet. With the trike, you start up the motor, put the wing in your lap, you drive over there. You pass the people that are walking carrying their unit, you connect up your wing, you put on the seatbelt, and you go. You're already in the air. They're still walking across the field to set up their equipment, so it's much faster, it's much easier. The training time is cut into half because we're not having to spend hour after hour after hour after frustrating hour, which it is. In the beginning, kiting is frustrating. And again, I have 100% success rate at getting you there, and we spend as much time as you need. But I just want you to understand it's a lot more work than you think to do the foot launching. And most people won't tell you that. They don't want you to know that. In fact, most of them will want to put you into some tiny unit and try to upgrade you later so that, you know, if you are going to switch to a trike, you'll have to buy a whole nother motor. So they'll always try to divert your attention to how light their little motor is. Nice thing about the trike is you don't have to worry about weight. It's not on your back. You can start off with the most balls-to-the-wall power unit there is on the market, which is the Monster 122, the Fresh Breeze Monster. And that unit is 312 cc's of raw power with a 4-bladed propeller system. Now, you can't put anybody into that that's under 200 pounds because they won't be able to fly it, and even if they could, they'll spin under the wing from the amount of torque. This is a very weight-oriented sport. You have to be into the right wing, the right motor for your conditions, your body weight. This makes it much more dangerous. Foot launchers can sometimes get what's called riser twist. If they go into something that's a little bit too powerful, they can actually spin under the wing from the amount of torque of the motor. That's completely eliminated with the trike. Nice thing about the trike is too, you can customize it. You can put bags on the side of it. You can put sandwiches in there. You can mount GoPros and instruments if you're a guy that likes instruments. You can get a cell phone holder. You can download the app, and you can look at instruments while you're flying, a GPS, altitude. You can get your wind speed, airspeed. You can get all that right on this and look at it without strapping all of this stuff to you. You can take up camping gear. You can take up all sorts of stuff that you want to take with you. I like bringing food up there. I like bringing a snack up there. When I load the bags up, this one doesn't have bags on it, but I like doing that and loading it up with a little bit of food. And so if you ask me which one I like better, I like the trike. It's effortless. You connect it up, you go, lot safer. But one thing I don't do is I don't put people into a unit that is so underpowered that they have no room to add on. Now that's one thing that the other guys won't do. They want you to go into small because they want you to overwork your stuff. They want you to be happy at first, and then they want to upgrade you later. And so you're overworking the motor. What I would rather do is, if you can figure out whether you want a foot launch or a trike first, do that, because then if you are going to go with trike and you're under 200 pounds, you can still fly the biggest motor we have. And the nice thing about that is you can share that with other people that either are heavy or too light to handle a motor on the back. Maybe the heavy guys need more power. We have people come in sometimes, they're 200-300 pounds, and they bring in their daughter. Like if you watch the 17-year-old girl video that we had, she was probably 115 pounds. Her dad was over 200, and yet she's able to fly the biggest motor because it's in the trike. She doesn't have to worry about riser twist or being unsafe. So it allows you a bigger weight range. You can fly more people on the trike. By the way, training is free for your entire family or any one of your friends. So if you bring them in with you, they can train on your stuff too. But this is more user-friendly as far as the expansion of body weight and ranges of the pilot flying it. And again, the other thing is too, I can land in any direction. I've got pilot protection around me. Hard landings aren't a problem. It self-corrects for me. Foot launching, you're tripping, you're falling. The learning curve is bigger. So all of that stuff we talk about, by the time you get done, the trike is my favorite. And so It's not a matter of which one is better. It's a matter of what you choose. But quite honestly, the trike makes it so easy. And people that start off with a trike, they never go, gosh, I'd really like to, I think I'd like to launch. I'd really like to start lugging my equipment all the way over to the other side of the field instead of, just driving over there. I'd really like to have some hard landings and not be able to stand it up during my learning curve. I'd really like to start tripping, falling, and breaking a few propellers. And I think foot launches, I think I'd like to start foot launching now. You'll never do that, because once you start with a trike, it spoils you rotten. I mean, it's just, you get the same experience. I do aerobatics in the trike. I do cross countries in the trike. I'm getting off of beaches. I'm getting off of small areas. And everything about it to me is just a lot more fun. It's frustrating when you break a prop, but it's no big deal. People do it. It's your first year. So either one is a great experience. I'm not trying to discourage you against foot launching. I just want you to know and understand what you're getting into when you come into the sport, so you can make a more educated decision. I don't want you spending more money than you have to, and I don't play the upgrade game, and we don't charge for training and all that. So I'm trying to save you some money and think it through before you get into the sport. But I do put you into a motor that's powerful enough that if you do decide at any point that you want to add a trike, you're already in the wing that you can fly, and you're already in a motor that's powerful enough to lift you. So if you do want to do that, it's really not a problem if you're coming to me, because I won't let you go into something that you're going to have to upgrade to. You can fly the same equipment I sell you indefinitely. Well, with all that out of the way, let's go flying. We got a little bit of light left. I'm going to take a flight.
Okay, well right now you're going to see why I love the trike a little bit more. Watch this. I'll tell you what, if that doesn't light your fire, your stinking wood's all wet, baby. That was a lot of fun. It was beautiful up here. The sunrise over there, or the sunset, you really can't appreciate. But right up there, even just off the deck. It was so amazing. The whole along the horizon here, I could almost see the beach over there, but right off to the one side, and then the whole sky was like it was on fire up there. But man, that was a good flight. I'd love to stay and chat with you a little bit longer and show you a little bit more aerobatics with this, but it's getting dark, so I'm going to pack up. But even a little flight, boy, I'll tell you what, that was like a 1-week vacation right there. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me. God bless you.